Okay, we're back here at NMRAx Studio 1. I've come in from the cold, looking at all that snow before, was a bit chilly. And we've got our next presenter up. We've had a bit of a hiccup. Suddenly the electrons in Facebook and YouTube didn't want to play with us anymore, and they just decided to stop the stream. So we've rewound the Lismore internet connection, and we've got Joey here now who's going to give us some hints and tips on simple painting techniques using acrylics, which I should keep an eye on, because I've got a heap of acrylics here, and all I can seem to do is make a mess with them. So anyway, I'll hand it over to you, Joey.
Thank you, Marty. I appreciate that. So my name is Joey. I have my own training business, Touch of the Brush Model Weathering, and I do custom weathering, painting, as well as adding decals and details to model trains, as well as all kinds of models. And one time I had a client send me a few locomotives. I got through about 3 locomotives and fading them, and the airbrush completely went on me, and the hose went on me, and he wanted that project completed within about the next day, and there's no way I could get a airbrush within a few hours before he wanted them mailed out. So I had to figure out a way to use to do some fading on these locomotives, and long and behold, I have acrylic paints. I have white acrylic, I have some black and some brown acrylic paints, and I'm like, well, I guess I can use a paintbrush and air dry them. I'm like, well, I also have a blow dryer. So that's how I was able to fade the last locomotive. Unfortunately, I don't have the locomotive with me because it's with my client, but I do have a few examples on some of my personal projects. And one of them is here. And this is not, again, this is not from an airbrush. This is just from a paintbrush, and using some acrylic paints, diluted, of course. And after a few coats of the same technique over and over again, I was able to get the fading and some actually dirt and grime that I wanted. And this is a dummy unit from Athearn, and I practiced on here, and this is actually based off a actual prototype, and so you can put up here. So that was used, the front, all that was just regular acrylic paints, some black acrylic paints, diluted and dried. Another one here. Now this one has a little more this one actually has some weathering powders on them. And so this one is really faded out too. You can see here. This side. And this dummy unit, some extra paints and some really light gray. I was able to fade out the black a little more. And you can see here. And this is a beat up old Jeep that became a B unit. And you can see here some paint chipping and fading, a little bit of a toast from the burning on top here. And so obviously it was an ex-Norfolk Southern locomotive, and it became a B unit. And the HNE is the Hudson and New England Railroad, which was a fictional railroad that I was modeling. And so with that, I'm going to show you some techniques on, I'll show you the techniques that I've used. And I got a few cars here that we're going to, that I'll show you, and we'll get started. I got to bring the camera down, so just bear with me a moment. I'll put the mute on. All righty. So here we go. Now I have a few colors here. Now we're going to use Anita's acrylics, which I really love. You can get these at local hobby stores, arts and craft supply stores. This was only like $2.99 for the big bottle, and I'm almost done with it after 3 years. So that's just a regular flat brown. And yes, you want to use flat. This is a pewter gray. Then I have the regular flat black. You can see I use these guys a lot. And everybody's favorite for some fading will be white. I like these acrylics. They stay on really well. They don't when you dilute them, they blend really well into the model, is all I can say. And so honestly, and these are the exact supplies I used when I started fading. You can use a foam brush. I necessarily don't really use a foam brush too often, but you can. My favorite and everybody's favorite, besides cleaning your ears after the shower, I use I like using these Q-tips. And we'll show you some techniques with Q-tips. An edge brush here. You can see, maybe going to the white a little bit. You see how it's an edge on there. And I have a few brushes and water right over here that I use. And it's really just experimenting on what brushes you want. And when you do any kind of fading or you're creating some simple weathering with these acrylics using this technique with diluting the acrylic paints, you use what works for you. So we're going to get started here. Now, this is a very, very shiny grain hopper, sand hopper. And we're going to dilute this guy here. So now we can use here, we're going to start with a paintbrush. Now I got some water. I get some of that water. We could do some simple weathering with some of the brown. Now you can see how really light this is. You can go thicker. You want the paint to go thicker, the weathering to go thicker. And I'll show you some examples on this particular car. Or you want to go very, very light, you can. I do have a YouTube channel, and the latest video I uploaded on Touch of the Brush model weathering is I actually used this technique on a couple of Conrail locomotives recently. And so you can check that video out. So you can see how diluted that is. It's not really thick. If you want it thicker, you can. And so we're gonna do. You barely can see it. You can see it right over here in the corner, and looks more wet than anything else. Maybe over here I want to go a little thicker. I'll bring it up more towards the camera so you can see what we got going here. You can see the BNSF's already looking a little filthy, and I get the blow dryer, and I'm going to put this on mute, and on the low setting, I dry it. Oh my goodness, this thing's already practically weathered. And just like that, where you have a weathered look. And you look at the other side, see the difference there? Now it's already faded. So let's say we want some more grime or some more dirt. You can, like we were discussing before, we can go a little thicker. Take a little bit of that paint. I'm going a lot thicker now. And let's say we want a couple of spots really, really thick. Maybe in the middle here. And we'll dry it. All right. So it's on a little thicker there in the center. And you can see the difference in the shades. Now it's brown on brown, a little hard to see. But what if I want to do some fading with white? So what I'll do is, we know that the lettering is white, and so I get a very, very fine brush here. Same technique, just a little bit of water. And what I'm going to do is right here, get some more water on there. So I mean, my goodness, that looks kind of horrible, right? So we go back and get our Q-tips, and you can take some of that off, or let it lightly stroke it down. And it's a little wet, but don't like really rub into it, because then you'll take it off, and you'll see some light spots up here, and there will replicate the paint maybe dripping down off the logo. So we'll do the blow dryer again. Okay, and maybe a little difficult to see, but with that white, you can see that it's a lot brighter. It looks like the paint's fading out of it, and you see some of the white going downward, so it looks like it's wet from just the environment, rain, and all that, and it's the some of the white streaking down. So now, like I said, I think it's pretty good if you want some light weathering done, or if you want some heavy weathering, we're gonna go to the other side here, and I like mixing this Anita's black and brown together. Now I'll take a little bit of there, And again, it depends on what the model looks like. Sometimes I use a little bit of the weathering powders in here to mix up the paint and to give a different shade of a rust or a grime look. So you can see there, it's really a dark, dark brown. I'm going to get some of that water, take a little bit of here. Right over here. Okay, there we go. That's the color I'm looking for right there. And now the part ratio, it really depends what you're looking for, and practice on it. Don't just go at it with some of your best models at first. But I want this to look really, really filthy. Now, on the other side, if you want to go darker, you can add more coats. And you can seal it first and then go back, or just keep adding coat to coat to coat without sealing it first. And sealing, I mean just sealing the first coat you did, which can be you can use matte finish, or dull coat will work too. All right, we're gonna go mute again. Okay, now this is the first side we started. Simple brown, different shades here, some paint fading off the logo here. And then we've got the other side, which is a darker color. You can see the difference. It's a lot darker. And let's say I want to go darker. Let's go darker here. Get a little bit more. Really want this whole side just really, really covered. And you can add some water on here too to really lighten it up if you want, and stretch out that paint. All right, going deaf again. Now I did this on purpose, and you can see how it looks really, really streaky. Doesn't look that great. You don't like it. Oh, it's acrylic paints, water base. Ooh, we don't want that in there. Not now, anyway. Go back over it with some with your paintbrush and some more water. Stretch out that paint even more, and you can repeat this as long as you want to. If you want to go back with a sponge brush, you can. Okay. Let me go mute. Okay. So now, maybe it looks a little streaky, maybe it looks a little sloppy still, but that should just have the two thick coats, of course. But And you can see the difference. This on the bottom wasn't done yet under here. So you can see the weathering and the difference. No, the wheels are too shiny for me. And you can do that. Now, let's say you don't like it. And like I said before, acrylic paints are water-based. So I could scrub it off and start all over if I wanted to, or maybe there's certain spots I just don't like, or maybe a little spot right here I don't think I like it too much, and I want to redo that little spot over. All right, use the dry side. Or maybe I want to go over each individual part of the panels and clean the inside, but leave the outside parts dirty. I could do that too. So here's the cleanup part here. I mean, it's just like nothing ever happened. Now, if you seal it with something before you do this, you may have a tougher time. Normally, I do not seal until I know I am happy with the fading or the weathering process doing this. So back to mute. Okay, and there's your clean spot right there. And you can start over and redo it if you like. So that's for this car. Now I have gray, I have white, I have the brown and black. But what about a? Oop, and this thing popped off. That's okay. What about a tank car? Now we could fade this, and now actually a gray, very, very diluted gray will work. I haven't tried it on this particular tank car, but I tried it on others, and it's packed somewhere in the box. I wish I was able to find it in time, but we're gonna give it a shot anyway. So here what I'm gonna do. I think that was the yeah, that's the weight. All right. So clean brush. All right, now we're gonna get some gray here. Again, we're gonna do very diluted, very light. And you're better off going light at first, unless you already know your consistency and your ratios for doing this. And we know the top of the tank cars usually are faded from the sun, because don't forget it's curved. Okay, so when the sun usually hits, it's going to be right here, maybe not underneath too much. Or you could do the whole car, and I can show you a trick to do that as well. So let's do that. Let's say by accident I took the whole tank car and I faded the heck out of it, and I just wanted the top. So we can do that. And usually have some nice music playing. I'm a drummer. I don't sing, obviously. Marty's a drummer too. I don't know if anybody knew that. We'll go upward, down, upward. Now, maybe a foam brush may work well with a tank car. I haven't done many tank cars. Done one like this. It worked pretty well. And the reason why I say use a light coat at first is because you got the lines with the paintbrush, and it's a light color on a black car. You know, it's a dark, at least a dark car. you know, the lines may show a little more than maybe a foam brush because you have a consistent stroke going downward. So we have this. So I'm going to go mute again. Now see, there's a difference here, and this is what the other side looks like. And we're gonna clean this up a little bit on the edges here, or leave some of it. And you really want to clean, if you want to clean, clean it. Okay, so we're not going to go too crazy here, but let's see. All right, so that looks pretty much better. See, now here where I stopped, you can see the difference. And the cool part is you have those strokes going downward because rain, snow, all the liquids that fall down, they fall down like this, you know, or like this on the car. So they go on each side and they fall over. So that's a very simple technique, just like that. And obviously it's nowhere near done over here. You can always add more some powders and or some more fading. And like we said before, we're gonna add some fading here in the bottom and some dirt and grime here. I may want this a little thicker than last time. I'm going to go in here. Go underneath. All right, back to mute. So there's the bottom underneath. It has some dirt and grime from the tracks, and then on top it is faded. Now, if we want like a rust bucket on one side, let's do that, and it's okay because if I don't like it or I don't want it, then actually weather this thing, I can always get rid of it. Why? Because it's water based. And I can't stress that enough because it's so exciting when like, oh my gosh, I ruined the darn thing, and I go, oh wait, it's water and acrylics. Okay, back to mute. Then I have simple weathering and fading on this side here. And that's just the black and brown mixed. And there's your really light side. We fade it out. So now I did the same thing here with the black on top of the Locomotive here. I mean, it was completely filthy black. This pretty close to what the prototype looked like. And so I just did layer upon layer of different of paint of diluted paint, acrylics rather, on this side here, especially the front of the Locomotive here. And also, I would same thing with this here. Let me actually grab this car right over here. I mean, this Locomotive, this Conrail. I use a light, very, very light black dilute, and enough to get the bottom part where the walkway is has some dark, some black in there. It get into all the nooks and crannies of the Locomotive, and the little detailed parts. Same thing there. And yes, even the tank, the fuel tank was the same. I used the same techniques. Let's see here. So let's say on this particular car here, or let's actually even better, I have a box car that I am working on currently. I'm making this a Virginian and Ohio box car, and I already started some of the weathering on the rooftop. But this has not been faded yet, and I will do one side of the fade just to show what it looks like with white paint, and I will clean it off before I put decals on. You want to put decals on before you fade, unless you have a patch, or it's already faded old box car, and it just has been, the logo has been redone, and they didn't care about repainting it. I don't think I ever saw that before, but and if it's your railroad, who cares, right? So looking to get some white here, and we're going to try to use the foam brush on one side and see how what the difference looks like here between a foam brush and a paintbrush. Actually, I'm gonna go a lot smaller. I prefer a smaller foam brush. Okay, so some water there. I mean, light as it could possibly go. I'm running out of space here. I mean, really, really diluted, really, really just mostly water. Okay. And this is why I don't like a foam brush. You can see how it milks up in the bottom? I don't like that. I like using a paintbrush. So I'm going to go back. And a paintbrush, you can sort that down. Just like that. And actually, I want to use the one I've been using. I like these very fine, thin edgers. And you need a clean brush because now you're going with complete white. Otherwise, it's going to look different. And due to not cleaning cleaning a brush properly, I already see some brown in here. I don't like that. So, like we talked about, water base. Just wipe it off, clean it up. That's it, easy. Oh my goodness, you didn't ruin your $50 box car. You don't have to throw it away. It's easy. That's it. Trust me, I freaked out one time when that actually happened. I was like, oh my gosh, this thing is ruined. A little more here. More of that good stuff that is on the earth, water. All right. And if it's too thick, I just add some water. That's what I do here. Or if it's too much, we do that. just that one little spot, and we'll talk about all the edging on the edges here, all that collected water and paint. Oh my goodness, we faded. Look at that. You need to buy a $100 airbrush either, nor a compressor. Just your mom or your wife's or girlfriend's blow dryer. Nah, go get something from Goodwill or something like that. That's cheap, like I did. You won't get in trouble either. And actually, I think that blow dryer was like $6 out of a few years now. So now you got all this white that's caked. Now you can use the edge of the Q-tip and just blow dry it. So now it's a little more neater. Let's say you don't want, you have to go into little detailed parts, details on here. So for instance, there's a little spot like right here on the corners. That's just white that's caked in there. I want that completely gone. Now I left with an edger. I have to go buy micro brushes. I use the edge of this with a little bit of water. And you just clean the edges. So now I have a clean edge again. That easy. It's magic, right? I know. And let's say about $12 for the paints. Water's free. You can get it anywhere. Q-tips, probably $1.99 for the whole box. And I think I have this left over from last December. It's a whole year left. And I did a lot of models in the past year. So, it's very inexpensive to do this kind of these kind of techniques here. So now there you can see some pieces of rolling stock where there are all sorts of fading going on, green, reds, and you just layer upon layer them. So for me, I would, let's say I like the way that is, seal it, then do another color over that. If you want, like maybe a little patch here has a little bit of maybe some tint of a green, you can do that, or mix the colors together, and then it all blends together with the water, and then voila, it's all faded together and combined on the one model into one level of weathering. So, and then from there you work your way up with powders and all those just all those different kind of tools and materials you can use to weather. And with this car here, I did I used a very, very light coat of the brown and black that we just did together. Very, very light, almost lighter than this white. And I went over it, and then on the logo here, I took a very, very diluted black paint, just enough to cover the blue, to darken it up a little bit. And then from there, I went over and sealed it with dull coat, and then went over it again with some powders, especially on the bottom here. Looks like kick up dirt and grime being kicked up from the tracks and the weather and the train, the wheels, all that good stuff that we like to see. That's how I did this car. And again, same thing with this one here. It's a simple technique, and you can see now on that. There wasn't an airbrush involved at all. So you can there's so many techniques you can use, and this one for me was very inexpensive. And honestly, it was a lifesaver because there was no way I was going to finish the project for the gentleman before Christmas time. So, and I was like, oh, I got to share this. So, for instance, I have a locomotive here. We're going to do the top of a rooftop fairly quickly. This is an old Mantua. Everybody knows these little guys, Mantua. Oh my goodness, right? We're going back in history here. Actually, it looks pretty weathered. It's pretty dusty, actually. But we're going to do the rooftop here, and I'm going to show you what a rooftop could look like on a locomotive using the same techniques. This is actually one of my first diesel locomotives. And again, if I don't like it, I can get rid of it using what? Using water. All right, we got some black, very diluted black. That may be too thick for me here. Okay. We want to go in the radiators and cover the top. Okay, a little more. Now, I had a client who wanted a BNSF engine, whether it be an SF engine, scale trains -9 rivet counter series, and he really wanted that rooftop really, really dark. And so I just thickened up the paint. That's all I did. All right, back to mute. Okay, so here's the engine, not weather, and you can see the top. It's already darkened. Has some grime on it. And I'll show you what I did with this mix of brown and black together. Again, very, very diluted. You know what? Unless you want to look like a rust bucket, but that's up to you. And so the same techniques. Okay. Now, there's some brown in there, a little bit of the black, and you can see a difference on each side here. Going back to mute. Okay, so this is the side that has not been done, and this is the side that is done on this side here. Very light, as you can tell, but if you look at the logos, the logo here, there is some brown, and there's some black in here. It's just a light, and you can see the difference from here and here, right here. So let's say I want maybe the half circles here, I forgot they were called. I want just this part right here, very, very filthy. So when you go to your Q-tips, you take a little bit of that mixed colors that we have here. And I'm just, that's all I did there. Mute. Now, this little incident here, I want to break it down a little bit more. There we go. Got rid of some of the excess that I didn't want. And we're going to take that color. We're going to go down with it. Mute again. Now you got some of that on the logo there. Just that's it. Like that's a little bit just to show something. Now we got like 4 minutes before we answer any questions. Now let's see. I'm thinking it up way too. Let's say I want this whole spot right here just completely darkened. Just right here. I want the whole thing of this side of the Locomotive completely darkened except the logo. I want the logo bright and nice and visible for everybody. And now we have to blow dry it, clean it up, and we'll clean it up. Okay, so now it looks a lot filthier, right? But I want the logo to be more visible. So we get our little very expensive edge here of the Q-tip. And we go over the logo. A little more water on this side. And don't wipe it, blow dry it. And we're going to do that. So now the logo is much more visible, but still streaking down on here. So you got some heavy weathering going down this way, and then you have the logo much more visible. And the cool part, if you look really closely at the engine, the logo itself, there is some brown on there that I didn't quite get. Oh my goodness, that's okay, because unless you want to completely, to me, it's not as prototypical unless it's completely spotless. You have some very minuscule weathering detail on there, which is just you not cleaning it up all the way. So you have to go there with a micro brush with a magnifying glass and or a big thing of lens and trying to get the little detail or the little rivet that you didn't get. You can just clean up certain parts and make it work. Oh, I lost.
Okay, Joey, we're that was brilliant. We're getting close to the end of the session now. So I think there may be some questions that people have been firing through.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, let's have a look here. I'll have a little look on the computer. And Grandpa Rails is asking, Joey, have you ever used alcohol inks for weathering?
I do occasionally, but I found that using water is much more forgivable and easier to work with. Because sometimes with using rubbing alcohol, it can leave some residue on it, and I don't like that. So I use water.
Okay, and Andy's asking question here: did Conrail tend to keep their logos cleaner than Southern Pacific?
Depends where in the country. But no, we all know Southern Pacific, 99% of their roster is absolutely filthy.
Yes, it's,
Unless you have the new one.
Sorry?
Unless you have the newer Dash 9s or the AC44s. They kept those things fairly clean compared to the older EMD power.
I noticed Ralph chimed in on that one, and he said they did for the most part, but later on, if it wasn't making money and getting dirty, there was something wrong. And
Right.
Ralph also makes a comment. He says, "Joey, tell them what you did with your airbrush." So, was there a story beyond your airbrush?
Yes, I wasn't using it properly, and I clogged it up, and I couldn't figure out how to clean it, and I was very pressed for time. And I had to be at the post office 10 in the morning the next morning. It was about 1 in the morning earlier than that, and I needed to get the locomotive completed. So I went to this technique.
And what acrylics do you say you're using, and what powders? So, what brands?
I use Anita's acrylic. These are right here. And Apple Barrel is pretty decent for like the cheaper paints you can get at any craft store like Walmart too. Also, I use some of these acrylics too. Della Rowney. I use some of them as well for other kind of projects. But I'm basically right here going for maybe for like beginners, or if you can't get to a store and you just have craft paint at the house, you could do the same techniques with that too. And okay, and if it isn't, if the paints aren't flat, you could dull coat them after that, so it will still work. But it's easy for me just to buy the flat paint.
Okay, and when you're doing your weathering, how important are using prototype photos and that for reference? Do you?
I do, and when I weather, I have my clients. They give me pictures of the locomotive, of the actual locomotive that or model. I'm sorry, the rolling stock of locomotives that I will be weathering. Sometimes they don't have a picture, and so I'll be doing the research, and I have loads of DVDs. Obviously, there's YouTube, and obviously rail fanning photos and researching online at photos as well. And sometimes we take a screenshot right off the TV, right off the computer, and go off of those, or a train magazine. Also, I also will, if there's a project, let's say I remember a BNSF locomotive that I did, and he could not find a picture of the prototype, but he gave me a few other locomotives of the same type of model that he liked. So one had a toaster, and the other one had a little red box for represent the Santa Fe, like the old Santa Fe on the BNSF. So I used 3 different photos of 3 different complete locomotives for the actual model.
For that one particular model, huh? Cool. And so let's have a little look over on YouTube and Facebook now. There's a few questions there. There we go. It's probably more of a statement, but some acrylics don't, Mike's saying that some acrylics don't wash off once dry. Check first. So have you had that experience?
Not with these, no. And I'm sure there's certain acrylics I know these certain acrylics may have that issue. But the cheaper stuff that I use, the Anitas are very, very forgiving.
Okay. And I think it's the last question here on Facebook. I'll just have a scroll down. And Rick was asking, do you ever do structure weathering?
I do. I actually posted a few photos of one of my old MTH buildings that I had that I repainted, weathered, and added little signs off of Google. I cut them out and glued them to the building.
Cool.
So
Cool. Well, that looks like it's about all the questions there, I think, on Facebook and YouTube. No doubt Brad will chime in if I've missed one or left something out. But again, Joey, another brilliant clinic, and thanks a million. And take care, and we will speak with you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate being part of the NMRA clinics here. Thank you.
Not a problem. It's great having you here.
Likewise. Take care, guys. Thank you.
See ya. Okay, well, we're back here, back in Studio One. I've got Craig Mackey here all the way from Brisbane, Australia. We had an op session yesterday round at Craig's house. So 24 hours ago, we were all in his shed running trains between Casino and Brisbane. Well, trying to run trains between Casino and Brisbane, as you'll see by the video coming up. But I won't hang about. Well, we've got a lengthy video here, so we'll put that on. And it's basically our trip to Craig's. Brad and I went up there yesterday, and you might as well hit the go reel, Brad.
Okay, we're here with Craig at the moment and Craig's layout. You want to give us an introduction, Craig?
Thanks, Brad. Someone once said, "Let there be light," and the layout was lit. So this is where the trains start. We've got a whole lot of return loops here and some dead-end sidings. This is Grafton Yard, and this is where most of the trains start. And if you look at this timetable graph here, that is all the trains that we won't run today, but we'll get through probably half of them. And in the future, I plan to do an NMRAx presentation on how to make a simple timetable graph out of, anyone can use it, or anyone can make one. So basically, this layout has all the track from Grafton in northern New South Wales up to South Brisbane in Queensland. And the whole aim was to run through a place called Casino. And I've since found out that the person taking the video here used to live at Casino. So it's a small world. Now, every location, it's single track, and trains run from one location to the next via crossing loops, and trains can pass. And we've got facilities to make sure there's only one train on a section of track. And so in New South Wales and Queensland, they had staff machines, which you could only take one staff out, which allowed access to that single track. So leaving Grafton at location 0.00 on the layout, and you know it's on Grafton because we've got the jacarandas, and we know it's October time period because they're in full flower. The trains go north from Grafton, and they go round underneath the bridge past a bit of a farm, past a crossing. It's actually a siding. This is a Rockler sleeper siding. And again, there's lots of things still in construction. It's only taking me 15 years to construct the shed from zero to now. So the first crossing loop is Rapful Loop, and from Rapful Loop goes past a level crossing, which actually works, and I can simulate it going off. And I can actually turn it off. From here, it goes past the Penalbo ballast siding, the Richmond River, with some kit bashed bridge. It's got the right number of box sections for the bridge over the Richmond River. And there's a bit of activity in the water there. Some cars driven into the water, and the divers are about to see if there's any bodies left there. So as we come north of the bridge, there's a number of little water holes around the place where there's water, stagnant water laying in them. Comes into Casino. The Casino overhead booking office was actually pulled down in about 1991. So that limits my area of what I'm modelling. So for the last 12 months I've been going to build the station building. I haven't started yet. I've got some roof sections here, that's all. I'm trying to build every house that backs onto the railway line, and we've got photos of the houses because of the number of trips we've gone down to Casino. It's about 250 kilometres from here, near where Brad lives. And of course, lots of detail scenes, bit by bit, they're being developed. So from Casino, the layout splits. The first branch line comes around from Casino to Old Casino. From Old Casino, it goes through a spiral, disappears on the bottom section here, and comes out on this level, and then it comes into Lismore. And if we follow the track around to Lismore, past the Lismore oil siding, And of course, when people are shunting this particular siding, locos can't enter the siding, and all the gates on the sidings have to be manipulated by the crew who's actually doing the shunt there. So into Lismore itself, we've got a set of traffic lights there working that iterate through all the main line, the main road, or the side road over time, and you'll see that changing throughout there it is, it's just changing to the side road now. So from Lismore, we've got a number of different sidings in Lismore where trains come, drop wagons off, and that's a native Marty. From Lismore it goes north, round another spiral and comes into Murwillumbah, and in Murwillumbah it's difficult to reach, but you can shunt everything by just standing from a distance, because there's magnets in the track. So the white on the rail means there's a magnet there, so you can, and everyone knows that at Murwillumbah there was the cement works, and of course the doors actually work. You can leave them up and down, and of course the gates work as well on the. It's no use building a model if it doesn't work. So that's the branch line from Casino to Murwillumbah. And heading north from Casino, it runs past the Casino coal stage, which is a very iconic, probably termite-ridden wooden structure that's 70 years old or so. And Brad would probably say that that's a pretty good model. I can't say that I built that, a mate of mine built it for me. So going north from Casino, you go past the Hotham Street level crossing to the meatworks at Casino, and then it goes up into a helix to the Moona ballast siding.
Okay.
Down through there you can see the Hotham Street level crossing. It's flashing away. Through the Casino meatworks, which is still a work in progress. Through the helix, and then up to the Moona ballast siding, where they actually used to load cattle as well. And then it comes into the next location up the helix, which is Fairy Hill. It goes past Fairy Lane. And of course it comes to Fairy Hill Farm. And there's a few monkeys swinging in trees and driving tractors, because my mates give me things. Swings hanging from trees. And then we come into Kyogle. From Kyogle it goes past the Fawcett's Creek. So the Kyogle station hasn't been built yet, but that will be built in there. Across Fawcett's Creek, and this is the Summerland Way, where you probably came up today.
Correct.
You came by that way in the opposite direction. We've got the Kyogle stock siding, and then from Kyogle heading north, it comes past Kugel Spiral. Where the track crosses over itself, gains height. There's only 2 spirals in New South Wales. And we've got a number of photos that we've tried to recreate the various scenes from the actual from the spiral in model form. So from Kugel, it comes into border loop, and this is a border loop siding, and we've got the actual signal box there with a couple of people waiting for a train. We've got a baby bird sitting up in the nest, an egret there, and there's actually a photo in the background there of this particular crossing loop that we've just tried to replicate in model form. Of course, the tunnel at the end of the crossing loop there is border tunnel, and the Queensland-New South Wales border is inside that location. And the train runs around a big loop and comes through at the level down and comes into the risk crossing loop. And bit by bit, the scenery is being improved. From from the risk, it heads north and comes into Glenap crossing loop. We've got a number of fettlers camps, trackside workers, and little bits of detail here and there, trees. Then it comes into Glenap. Bit by bit, more buildings have to be made. Then from Glenap it goes to Acacia Ridge, and this was the original terminus of the layout until I put the next level on. And the next level was dual gauge. So everything at the front of the layout here is 12mm, simulating 3'6" track for Queensland Railways. And then going north of that, it's dual gauge. It goes round the return loop, and the tracks merge, the 12mm and the 16.5mm merge at the far end, and runs along the back wall, and that's dual gauge. And heading north from that, it runs into Rockley sidings. From Rockley sidings, it comes into Clapham Yard, which is a hive of activity during an operating session. And then heading further north, it goes past Uronpilly Loco, which we call Loco Pilly. And then, if you can get up high enough, stand on the stairs. Dutton Park is in the corner, and the track branches at Dutton Park and comes into Fisherman Islands. And again, Fisherman Islands has standard gauge at the front, narrow gauge at the back, and of course there's a dual gauge track right through the middle. And a lot of those points you can't reach, so we can automate them by push buttons and hear them throw. Now, down the other end, if we're heading north from Dutton Park,
I'll get out of here.
we come across a native of the area called a Marty. So you can see from Brad taking a photo of my height, the track here is fairly high. And that's Dutton Park, and you can tell which way that point is set up there by Fisherman Islands or South Brisbane Interstate. You can see that it indicates which way it's been thrown. And then it comes into Park Road siding, and we've done a model of the actual one of the sheds at Park Road. And from Park Road, it then comes around to the end of the layout, which is South Brisbane Interstate. And that's around this end. And when you end up at the stop blocks at the end, you've travelled about 135, 136 metres of travel. So what's that? That's 3 times that. That's about 420 feet. 420 feet from where we started.
Okay, Craig, what about mission control for the layout?
Well, this is North Coast Control, normally occupied by one Arthur Hayes MMR. So we've got a track diagram here where trains start. You can use magnets on the board, but Arthur prefers to use little stick-on notes where he'll put the train location and move them round. You can see that the board's occupied. And North Coast Control has got his own little fan down there, and behind him he's got a fast clock saying what the time is. And a mate of mine built one of those from an Arduino because I'm running the NCE 5 amp system. And what Brad didn't show on the way, there's a whole lot of little mini scenes developing as we go around the layout, and over time they'll be developed. So up here we're going to have a disco party underway in the hall with a whole lot of friends of Marty. You can tell by what they're carrying in their hands.
I believe you might even see Gordy there with those.
Yeah. So there'll be music blaring out here to keep North Coast Control, I suppose, keep him calm during the what happens on an operating session here. Now this is the other thing, the other main feature of the shed. It's called a fridge, and it's chockers for today's session. There's various poisons in there.
I'm sure we'll be back to suss that out.
Lucky it was right. Just checking. There's no whistle. Casino.
Thank you. Road's
Getting to
there you
30.
go, so you can just come right out there. I think I'm not sure where you want you to take that and get the border. Take a look.
Give out a little more.
There's more than hers.
Are you there, Control? Number 51 at Casino, heading to Ferry Hill.
I'll take the payments.
Okay, well, we'll record that then.
Yes, that's it. My instructions say to send the loop. And I have to pass number 8, which is Jeff. I just passed, he's just passed me. Yeah. And then I got 51 coming the opposite way. And now I can go. 2:10 a.m. Which is now. But the late rain will be a hole. Or I'll be even later rain.
This is that driver that bought
Rivalry for the GD cruise, the Melbourne cruise. 3 to go there, driver, 3 to go, I'll pull you up.
You're going.
He's in the dirt.
You're going this way, aren't you?
Yes.
That's right, yeah.
So you and I are going the same way,
That's
But
right.
and Darren's going the
Darren's
same
well.
way.
But I'm
Yeah.
Mark's the only one going the other way.
Mark's
Yeah.
coming towards us.
So should we take the photo again just in order? Hang on, jump in here. And I'll turn my back because I'm going the opposite way to you
Well,
guys.
that's right, yeah.
Train 8, somewhere between the Risk and Border Loop.
Chief Superintendent's on breakdown duties.
And controller headsets up working. 6 is at the Risk.
I'll pull it up at Rapville.
Right. 6 is on the main, and yeah, rail sets in the loop.
The pay bus is still
You
at
recording the
Border
sound
Loop.
as well?
So 70% of your train is in within 4 kilometres of the whole layout.
You've got a little bit of editing to do, haven't
you,
before this evening?
Yeah, exactly.
That's all right, yeah. Well,
We feel your pain, Arthur, don't worry.
We do.
There's 3 of us waiting here for number 8. He's driving as fast as he builds a layout.
See, this is what. I'll completely understand if I don't get another invite, Craig.
you didn't cause it to derail.
Oh, I don't know.
It's whoever assembles the load it calls it the derail because the slab steel, but you fell off the wagon.
What's on these best for now?
Well, I won't mention my name.
We all look at our time sheets. And we'll have the rest.
I'm leaving in 8 minutes. And I'm going to Melbourne. 2:22. 2:23.
I was supposed to leave at 2:10.
I'm hoping around 2:45.
Try now.
It's already 2:23, so I reckon you get the road next, then Mark, then me.
Well, I'm supposed to wait.
Craig, did you say try now?
No,
Alright.
Who's in the loop? You are.
I'm in the loop, yeah, that's
Because I
right.
need to go into the loop next.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I was supposed to go to get to cross number 51, which is Craig. Craig's on breakdown duty, so where are you stable at the moment, Craig? On 51?
well, I'm at Ferry Hill.
Woodlands Ridge.
Miles away.
So yeah, okay. Well, if you're
Lilac.
That's what we used to call the job.
Ah.
33.
Okay, Jeff.
Okay.
Alright, Jeff.
Good to go?
Yeah. Mine.
So you throw
Spend that long with roll turned off. How's that, Craig? Yeah. Have you put in new batteries for
Did you? Yeah. Don't worry too much about it. It's not like a bit star like it's going to work. A bit of variety.
I'm in the loop by
A
accident.
reliable throttle's better than throwing out 5 volts of the batteries, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can continue on to Coyote.
Yeah, because he's cleared me. Casinos, other things.
You see what he says.
Yeah, we need a road.
Actually, he's pretty good. He'll normally
There's a
see.
sorting just here, mate. You can just put it.
He'll normally ask if he can get some.
We've got to wait for Jeff to
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I'll check straight in.
tell you
You
on
can
there.
hear that from here. And there's no black fuzz on your ears afterwards. It's a reminder.
This is
So
what it's like.
disappointing.
Still not having.
I went over and Cass said to me, "You'll range your idiots."
Sit there for an hour.
Oh, mate, hang the suspense. I think he's going to kick you right on through. Give him the road.
Well, train control, this is train number 8.
Thanks, man. Must be the wanted poster.
I need to get the Scenic. It's a good shot from there across the bridge. Excuse me, Jeff.
When it comes back around next time, Jeff.
Train 3 to control.
Push the 2.
Train 3 sitting in the black platform.
See the cab light?
Hang on. This is a socially distant dock session, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If Jeff came and joined us here, we could all be in the same spot at the same time.
No, I'm just glad to be out of there.
Sorry, Arthur. What was that? Can I continue through? To where? No, to Lismore.
Just keep going again.
Okay, start.
I'm wearing that one. Still going.
So Shelton, what are you running?
I'm waiting for 49. About to run 49.
Are the shuttle lists beside the...
Yeah,
Shunt list.
Are they beside it?
they should be. They're not in order.
Oh, right, okay. I'm
You
looking.
might have to find.
Okay, because I'm looking at it.
Shunt list aren't in order.
Okay, alright. So you're saying shuttle is
But if it's not there, I've got spares.
I thought they were beside it, I'm looking along going.
It's just that your old train, Shelton, has kicked into life.
And what?
It's a good view down there.
It's in the yard.
Yeah, but it just started making noise by itself.
Oh, 59. No, 49.
Yeah. So Jeff, give us a quick rundown of that trip that you just did.
Quick rundown.
Jumps to derail at points here.
I'm just trying to think of the best way to describe it. No, it was okay. Like it actually ran not too bad. For someone who hasn't run on the layout for a really long time, it was a bit of a challenge just to know where to go next, what the layout of the layout is. That's probably the hardest part for me. Is just knowing which way I've got to go.
Yeah, okay. Any memorable moments happened on the trip?
Oh, we might have had a minor derailment completely out of sight, and I might have taken the wrong road into the yard, but that all comes, I suppose, with time with running on the layout, knowing which way is the best way to go. So
Perfect, great.
not really.
Thanks for letting us follow.
Are you Robbie 1 control over? Yep, go to Ferry Hill Lane. Thanks, over. Roll out.
Train 1 to control.
Yeah, train 1.
Yeah, we're to head off to Scenic.
Yep, mate, you're right. Straight to casino, eh? Over. What was it, one? RB1. RB1, where is the casino?
Train 48 to control.
Yes, train 48.
Yeah, right at Ash Ridge. Want to head on to that, if I can, please.
Yep, over to Glen App, thanks.
Train 48. Well, after train 8 to control. Yeah. Help me on the beginner.
Train 8, yes, over.
Requesting permission to head out to Glen Up.
You'll have to wait. There should be one in the section in advance here. Come back to me when you see the section clear, right?
Oh! The Shelton so early in a session? Nice try. Control, this is train 6, the Up Fruit Express.
Yep.
With South Brisbane Interstate.
You go to Clapham.
Can I head on down to Clapham?
Yep.
Anyone come on my way?
Not at this point.
Right, I'll give you a call when I'm at Clapham.
Yes, please.
Thanks.
What was that, number 8?
6.
No, no, I got another one here I'm working on.
Alright, how many times?
You have another battery? Yeah. Okay, so here we are. We've got Arthur Hayes MMR is in Master of Control here at North Coast Control?
North Coast Control.
So
yeah.
for the Americans, he'd be doing the dispatching on the layout. So I'll let Arthur tell you what's actually happening. He told me there's about to be some chaos, so this could be good to watch.
Yeah, well, we've got a diagram here that tells me where they're supposed to be, and I've got a clock behind me that gives me the time. But I've got 5 trains across 6 sections at the moment, so it's just a matter of trying to fit in. And I've heard a call from down the track. Red light, so something's gone wrong.
Oh dear.
And I noticed here just behind me a track machine heading out in the section, but he's not going anywhere either at the moment. So
no, everything's come to a grinding stop.
Everything's it'll be interesting. I think the timetable is about to go out the door.
We're about to throw the timetable out the door and just make sure some trains run. So explain your magnetic board here. What we've got here.
Yeah, well, it's just a tin board that's been marked out with all the crossing loops and sidings. And if you have a look up the top, you can see where it's been extended with other tin boards with just line drawings. There is magnets, but I'm just using stickets at the moment because when you go looking for a number on a magnet, you don't know where you're going to find it. So the sticket's quite simple and easy, and I use the magnets to hang them onto the board so they don't fall down. So that's how I sort of keep track of who's where, is using that and moving them along to where I've given them the authority to proceed to. So yeah, it's fairly simple.
And what's the difference between the blue and the red?
I don't know. Oh, that's the branch, the red.
Okay.
That's a branch line.
Yep.
There's a branch line out to Wollumbar. And up the top there, Fishman's Island is another branch line.
Okay.
Acacia Ridge, Clapham, the main yards. And then there's a section that takes you down to South Brisbane.
Okay, and this is all based
I'm at
on
Glenap,
casino to...
Headsets don't seem to be working. Train 6 is at Glenap.
Then, all right, mate. Okay.
Oh, we've got problems with the headsets now. Whenever you go to record something, we'll find the problems in anything. It's just bring a camera out. We've proved that many, many a time.
Yeah, 48, 6, where's 6 supposed to go? 6, 6, 6, 6. Where are you? You're at Glenap. You should be able to go over to the risk. You got a staff? Can you get a staff to go to the risk?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, Control.
Although you'll find there's one sitting in there too, so just hopefully he'll go before you get there.
No worries.
Train control says number 33 ready to depart Grafton.
33.
The tunnel of the train
Where-
is great. It's gone down, it's in the tunnel, so down my side.
33.
The 54's finished, sorry.
54 is finished. Okay. I can get rid of 54, 33, you're at Grafton.
Yep.
You should be right to come up to Casino, eh?
Radio control.
Is there, it says in instructions that after wait number 3, train number 3.
I haven't got 3. 3 should be in front of you. But I haven't got
Oh,
it.
I see, okay, cool. Okay, straight to casino.
Yeah, go straight to Casino, eh? Sorry, who's on control?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Train 3.
Oh, you're train 3?
Yeah. We're up to 210, or we're about 20 minutes behind already, okay.
Train 3, you're at Grafton to come out.
Yeah, wanting to come out, heading towards Brackville.
Yeah, 33's in front of you. He should be coming out in front of you.
Oh, okay. So wait for him to come through.
Yeah, when he clears Ratville, give me a oi.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're 20 minutes behind schedule now, so that sounds about right for an Australian railway.
Well, some of these trains have disappeared. I don't know where they are. But they often take authority when they haven't.
And they just go. Okay, so here we are. We've got Arthur Hayes, MMR, is in Master of Control here at North Coast Control?
North Coast Control.
So for the Americans, he'd be doing the dispatching on the layout. So I'll let Arthur tell you what's actually happening. He told me there's about to be some chaos, so this could be good to watch.
Yeah, well, we've got a diagram here that tells me where they're supposed to be, and I've got a clock behind me that gives me the time. But I've got 5 trains across 6 sections at the moment, so it's just a matter of trying to fit in. And I've heard a call from down the track. Red light, so something's gone wrong.
Oh dear.
And I noticed here just behind me a track machine heading out in the section, but he's not going anywhere either at the moment. So
no, everything's come to a grinding stop.
Everything's it'll be interesting. I think the timetable is about to go out the door.
We're about to throw the timetable out the door and just make sure some trains run. So explain your magnetic board here. What we've got here.
Yeah, well, it's just a tin board that's been marked out with all the crossing loops and sidings. And if you have a look up the top, you can see where it's been extended with other tin boards with just line drawings. There is magnets, but I'm just using stickets at the moment because when you go looking for a number on a magnet, you don't know where you're going to find it. So the sticket's quite simple and easy, and I use the magnets to hang them onto the board so they don't fall down. So that's how I sort of keep track of who's where, is using that and moving them along to where I've given them the authority to proceed to. So, yeah, it's fairly simple.
And what's the difference between the blue and the red?
I don't know. Oh, that's the branch, the red.
Okay.
That's the branch line.
Yep.
There's a branch line out to Moorlambar. And up the top there, Fishman's Island, is another branch line.
Okay.
Acacia Ridge, Clapham, the main yards. And then there's a section that takes you down to South Brisbane.
Okay. And this is all based
I'm at
on
Glenap,
casino to...
Headsets don't seem to be working. Train 6 is at Glenap.
Glenap, all right, mate. Okay.
Oh, we've got problems with the headsets now. Whenever you go to record something, we'll find the problems in anything. It's just bring a camera out. We've proved that many, many a time.
Yeah, 48, 6, where's 6 supposed to go? 6, 6, 6, 6. Where are you? You're at Glenap. You should be able to go over to the risk. You got a staff? Can you get a staff to go to the risk?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, Control.
Although you'll find there's one sitting in there too, so just hopefully he'll go before you get there.
Train control says number 33 ready to depart Grafton.
33.
The tunnel of the train
Where-
is great. It's gone now, it's in the tunnel, so down my side.
33.
The 54's finished, sorry.
54 is finished. Okay. I can get rid of 54, 33, you're at Grafton.
Yep.
You should be right to come up to Casino,
Okay. Is there, it says in instructions that up to gate number 3, train number 3.
I haven't got 3. 3 should be in front of you. But I haven't got
Oh, I
it.
see, okay, cool. Okay, straight to casino.
Yeah, go straight to Casino, eh? Sorry, who's on control?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Train 3.
Oh, you're train 3?
Yeah. We're up to 210, or we're about 20 minutes behind already, okay.
Train 3, you're at Grafton to come out.
Yeah, we need to come out, heading towards Brackville.
Yeah, 33's in front of you. He should be coming out in front of you.
Oh, okay.
The layout says I'll stop there.
So wait for him to come through.
Yeah, when he clears Ratville, give me a voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're 20 minutes behind schedule now, so that sounds about right for an Australian railway.
Well, some of these trains have disappeared. I don't know where they are. But they often take authority when they haven't.
And they just go.
You should meet one, Sheldon.
Should I take the loop?
Yes, please. Yes, control. Right at Casino. Okay, go over to Ratville and you'll meet a bloke at Ratville. I've told him to take the loop.
Even though that's about 45 minutes in the future, you're happy to make it see you?
Yeah. You can run early. It's in the middle of the night. There's no fettlers.
Train control, this is RB1 at Acacia Ridge, looking for permission to leave, over.
RB1 over to Clapham, is it?
Yeah, about suburbs.
Okay, thanks.
6 is in the loop at Ferry Hill.
Oh yeah. There should be one coming out of Casino, but no one's taken the card yet.
Do you want me to try and get down there or hold up? I'm not supposed to be out of Ferry Hill till 4:25.
Yeah, a
Sort
bit
of half
early.
an hour.
Yeah, a bit early.
I'll wait and see.
Hey, Greg's made it to Moorlambar.
No, not yet.
Oh.
I've just finished the Lismore shunt.
Yeah, you can go there.
Heading to Moorlambar.
Go to Moorlambar, please. Can you move? You right to go, Craig?
Just hold on a sec. Train 1A to control.
There it is.
1A sitting at Casino in back road. Over.
1A, you want to head over to Fairy Hill, hey? Yeah, there's one over there waiting for you.
Oh, is it? You come. The bridge going down. Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh, you blasted. No, you can't get rid of that styrene
They all moving down there?
I think so.
Oh, about to climb the big hill, eh?
That's it.
Eh?
Got the chumster on the front.
I'll check these out to make sure they're all going for you.
Right, I give me a roll by.
Hey, yeah, especially those bloody 80 footers,
80
mate.
footers,
They're,
yeah, shit,
they're
yeah.
nothing but trouble.
NQJWs,
You know, every second dryman I'd go to Acacia Ridge with one of them, and it'd be an empty,
Yep.
and it'd be at 45 degrees at the track. I reckon Acacia Ridge wasn't designed for them.
Yeah, that's real.
But no one would listen to me,
Really? Yeah, well,
because they didn't want to stop bringing them up,
up,
did
yeah,
they?
that's it, yeah, 4 sliders.
Yeah. He's still going.
Oh, that's good.
You're right, you're on the hill.
I'm on the hill, that's it, yep. It's not a bad little unit, this.
RB1 Clapham over to South Brisbane to finish up, thanks. Thank you. Control out.
Train control number 51.
Yeah, you go, Craig.
Head up over to
Borderloop.
Thank you.
Sorry, who's on control? Yeah, go for it, mate. Go home. "49, are you there, Ratbull? Sheldon?
No, I'm about to enter Russell now. Okay, I'm in Russell at the moment.
You want to go over to the casino and up the branch?
Okay.
Where's 49? It disappears off this bloody sheet.
Look, the train driver can even hop out and take a video of his own train. And that right, Daz?
That's it. That's it. There you go, look at that. Old Chumster's just...
There you go. Whoop, whoop.
Alright, we better seek permission to head across to the next loop.
What are you, mate? Number 1A?
1A, that's it, yep.
Yeah, off the casino, mate.
Righto, thanks, Control.
Triangle, I say.
Righto, Triangle, thanks, Control.
Triangle, 1A. How far do you go?
Can I jump down to casino control? This is 6 at Fairy Hill.
Sorry, mate, sorry.
Can I jump down to casino?
You're number 6?
6 at Fairy Hill.
Yep, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
There goes the Fisherman's Island.
What are you looking for?
Sorry, who's calling control?
1A.
1A, tamper machine's in front of you somewhere. I'm not sure whether he's still in the section.
I'll just sit on the main here at Triangle over.
Sorry, mate.
I'll just sit on the main here at Triangle over.
Yeah, there should be one in front of you.
Yeah, the star's still sunk, so I'll just sit here and wait. There you are.
Yeah, it's Craig on the tamping machine. $4.45. Oh, he's early too. Gee, we're doing well there. 49 casino. Head up. Do you want to go over the whole casino, the shunt? Yeah, there, Sheldon. Yeah, I think you got to shunt whole casino, haven't you? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay, over the whole casino and call when you finish shunting things. Next time I'll hear from him, he'll be at the end of his trip. But he can't do any harm wherever he is.
You're talking about me, aren't you?
No, Sheldon. What one have you got, mate? What have you got?
I'm finished.
You're finished?
Don't take the railways.
Number 8 should be gone by now. What's down there? Oh yeah, 51.
On the quarter loop, trying to get over to the wrist.
Yeah, go for it. You got one up your backside, so pull your finger out. 1A, you there, 1A?
Yeah, 1A receiving.
Should have a staff there now.
Good man, thank you. 1A trial out.
1A over the border loop, eh?
Thank you.
I told him to get his finger out, mate, so let's see if he performs.
You got that staff, 4 length cradle, Gary?
Yeah, now.
Control, I got 6 arriving at Casino.
Number 6. You should be right to go for Ratville, eh?
Cool, thank you.
And number 6, was it?
Taking the tape off the floor, we don't know where to pass anymore.
Sorry, I'm back in service.
Have a shopping trolley with you. Are you texting when you're ready? You come, I see.
Seems like organised chaos over there.
No, not anything possible here. The old headsets here, all I can hear is whistle.
Okay, well, like I said, that video was put together in the middle of the evening, so excuse the repeating in the middle of it. I must, as Brad said, that must have been when I went to get a cup of coffee for the 48th time, and then came back and thought, I haven't put that bit in, so yeah, you get that. But yeah, we did that op session yesterday, so it was fresh off the press. Now let me have a little look. We'll go over here to the Facebook and see what we've got here. Boom, 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 boom. Jeff Burns rolled in, and he's making a comment about Gordy's music as well. Everybody loves these bagpipes. I don't know. Anyway, Jeff reckons he should have watched the session before this video before running the session yesterday. He would have actually known where he was going. And there's one person here was saying, wasn't there a steel plate missing off one of the wagons? Can you explain a bit more on that, Craig?
Yes, the steel plate sort of might have hit a tunnel portal and prevented the train from progressing. So I rescued the 2 steel plates and then put them back on after it had passed through the tunnel. And then later on, there was only 1 steel plate left. So somewhere between 2 locations on the layout, there's a steel plate. So if someone wants to find it for scrap, they'll make some money.
Plenty of scrap. There's some scrap steel hanging around the layout somewhere. Okay. Now we've got one comment here. What's the total mainline run on your layout?
So it's from Grafton Yard, from the first Scenic location there, all the way to the stop blocks at South Brisbane Interstate's about 135 metres. So that's probably 440 feet, I guess. And there's a couple of branch lines on there as well.
Okay, and another question here. What do you use more than one dispatcher on the layout?
No, just one.
Just one? Just poor old Arthur?
Thanks to Arthur, yes. Although sometimes we have other people do the job. But Arthur's the most qualified person because he was a signalman for Queensland Rail.
Okay, and was it Dwight here in Minneapolis has put a message in saying that he had a foot of snow and near 0 temperatures, and he wishes I was there. I don't wish I was there.
No.
Not at 0 temperatures and a foot of snow. There's a few people here saying hello. Michael over in Adelaide is saying hello. There's a couple of people in Canada. Let me go through here. There's a lot of chat in between people. There's one more comment here that Andy was making that that's some kind of layout. So I guess it's a little bigger than what they might find in the UK. So what's the size of the room again?
So the shed's a 40-foot by 20-foot shed.
40-foot by 20-foot shed.
So 12 by 6 metre over here in metric.
Cool. Well, there doesn't seem to be that many more questions there, unless I've missed some. I don't know if Brad's picked up any that I haven't got yet. How big's the room? So I think you just went over that. So that question just came in. There was a comment from another Aussie here saying it's great to hear Aussie dispatcher with well, we'll get there at the end of the day attitude. So, yes. Now, I believe you have some
I've got
some slides and some information on
I've got a quick presentation.
One of our sponsors here, who Mini Prints, has some international
fans
placement of his models. So I think you've got some photos of that, haven't you?
Yes. So hopefully I can try and present this. So let me try and distribute this. I'll go full screen. Can you see that, Marty?
Brad should be able.
So one of our local modelling group has been acquiring quite a lot of mini prints, and he's made some fantastic little scenes, and he's Australianised them. So he's running a 12mm, which is HON 3.5 layout, and some of his scenery is fantastic. So this one, we've got a cow skull, which you can get from mini prints, and he's actually scratch built a carcass. And of course, the fox there is also a standard mini print item. So again, we've got a mini print fox looking over at some rabbits. We've got some rabbits that are buried in the long grass. We've got an osprey up a mobile phone tower, and it's actually feeding its baby chick, which is a chicken that someone's trimmed down, or Barnacle Bob, or Bob Harding has trimmed down. So this osprey has picked up a fish. It's skimmed it along the water and picked it up with its talons. We've got some mini print cattle there, and we've got a rather Australian scene where we've got a willy wagtail sitting on the back of the cattle, and it eats all the insects off the back of the cattle, and the cattle, I think, enjoys having the willy wagtail there. And we've got some mini print pigs and piglets, and we've also got one of the defecating dogs, or crapping canines, or whatever they're called these days, done up as an Australian sheepdog. And again, some of the items here, the trailer there is scratch built by Bob. Here we've got a heron that's been painted up to look like an Australian blue heron, and he's got a couple of loons that are painted up like some native ducks. Some of the scenery on this layout is just fantastic. And here we've got some crabs. This fisherman, I think he's got his Christmas meal. He's got a couple of crabs coming up in the crab pot, and they're sitting in an area on the wharf there. They shouldn't be, because they're outside the safety fencing. Again, we've got a heron sitting up on a log in the mud flats, and there's actually a crab that is actually there. And this poor crab, I think it's past its use by date. He's floating upside down, and I think the boat that's on the banks of the creek there is also past its use by date, because there's a few holes in the bottom of it, and there's a tree growing up through it. And on this one, there's another crab that's walking along, and another a bird there. And on this one, we've got a couple of crabs that are little stream that runs into the creek there. And basically, that's it. And I've got a couple of these mini print stuff items as well, but they're nothing compared to what Bob's got. And I think every time we do an order now, we all put in and share the postage, and all contribute to the size of the order.
Cool. That's excellent. Seeing something that comes from Canada made to fit into Australia.
And we didn't know about it until we heard it advertised here, and now that's what we're going, oh, that's good stuff.
Oh, excellent. Let's see, have we got any other? Yeah, Andy was asking, is the dog having a poop? But
yes.
Yep, he definitely is. I'll just have a look over on Facebook. Oh, we got anything here? Any Prince website? No, there's a lot of comments, comments on the scenes and the likes. I know Bob is a prolific scratch builder and a brilliant modeler, but yep, so, no, I don't see any there. Have you got anything there, Brad, that I've missed? Or
looks like you stumbled through it quite well.
Oh, you did quite well there. So just everyone to know, Mini Prints is an NMRA partner. If you're a member of the NMRA, you can go to the partnership page on the website of the NMRA.org website. In the members area, look for member benefits partnership program. Mini Prints is listed along with over 40 other vendors, and you can get yourself a discount with an online discount code. So all helps offset the shipping for those of us outside of Canada, but or North America. And yeah, so we're over time. Brad is late for a future engagement, or not, as the case may be. And so we're going to all sign off here. We'll be back on New Year's Eve when Martin explains to the rest of us what we're doing. If not, we'll see you all in January, on the 23rd of January.
And a belated Merry Christmas to everyone.
Yes. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.